Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for our service of Multifaith Readings and Reflection. My name is Bavli, and I'm one of the spiritual care practitioners here at Mackenzie Health. Thank you again for joining us. Today, throughout the service, you will see prayers and scriptures which represent some of our multi-faith community. We encourage everyone to participate in all aspects of the service and to enjoy and celebrate those aspects that you have found most supportive and helpful to you. We hope that everyone will learn something new today, and in that spirit, keep an open mind throughout. Today's theme is on fear. So we will begin with an opening reflection. Fear has pushed me when you wanted me to be held by your loving hand. Fear has tormented me when you wanted me to enjoy your soothing peace. Fear has stolen from me when you want me to possess more than enough. I will stand against fear, and I will conquer fear in the name of all that is good and true. Our next reading comes to us from the Jewish tradition, and this comes from Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, my enemies and foes, they stumbled and fell. Though an army may encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. And though war may rise up against me, in this I will be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret place of his tabernacle he shall hide me, and he shall set me high upon a rock. And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me. Therefore, I will offer sacrifices of joy in his tabernacle, and I will sing, yes, I will sing praises to the Lord. Our next reading comes to us from the Christian tradition, and this comes from the book of 1 John. And we have known and believed the Lord that God has for us. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in them. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Because fear involves torment. But he who fears has been made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. Our next reading comes to us from the Muslim tradition, and this is taken from Imam Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Know that action on account of hope is of higher order than action on account of fear, because the creatures who are nearest to God are those who love him most, and love dominates hope. This is expressed by two kings. One of them is served through fear of his punishment, and the other through the hope of his reward. For this reason, what is desecrated, especially at the time of death, has to do with hope and optimism. Allah said, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Thus he prescribed the root of despair. And it is recorded in the traditions about Jacob. And Allah revealed to him, saying, do you know why I parted Joseph from you? It was because you said, I am afraid that the wolf will eat him, while you are neglectful of him. Why did you fear the wolf and not hope in me? And why did you have regard to the negligence of his brothers and did not have regard to my persevering? Our next reading comes to us from the Baha'i tradition, and this comes from a book entitled A Traveler's Narrative. Today, let every soul desire to attain the highest station. They must not regard what is in them, but what is in God. It is not for them to regard what shall advantage them, but that whereby the word of God, which must be obeyed, shall be appraised. The heart must be sanctified from every form of selfishness and lust, for the weapons of the Unitarians and all the saints were and are fear of God. This is the buckler which guards humans from the arrows of hatred and abomination. Unceasingly hath the standard of pity been victorious, and am counted amongst the most puissant hosts of the world. Thereby do the saints subdue the cities of human hearts by the permission of God, the Lord of hosts. Darkness lamps the earth, the Lamb which gives light and is wisdom. And of wisdom is the regard of place and the utterance of discourse according to the measure and state. And of wisdom is decision of human, should not accept whatever anyone says. Our next reading comes to us from the Buddhist traditions, and this directly comes from the words of the Buddha. Live in joy and love, even among those who hate. Live in joy and in health, even amongst the afflicted. Live in joy and in peace, even amongst the troubled. Look within, be still, free from fear of attachment. Know the sweet joy of living in the way. There is no fire like greed, and no crime like hatred. No sorrow like separation, and no sickness like hunger of heart, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are the greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within, be still, free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of living in the way. Our next reading comes to us from the Hindu tradition, and this is a classical Sanskrit writer called A Poem for a Caldesa. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the varieties and the realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, and the splendor of achievement are but experiences of time. For yesterday's but a dream, and tomorrow's only a vision. And today, well lived, makes yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the ever-new dawn. Good morning again, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for our service of Multifaith Readings and Reflection. My name is Badley. I'm one of the spiritual care practitioners here at Mackenzie Health, and today's theme is on fear. So I just want to share with you a small reflection on this theme. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hatred. And hatred leads to suffering. Master Yoda was talking to young Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker was filled with hatred. He may have to fight Darth Vader, which actually was his father. How could this happen? A son may have to fight and maybe kill his own dad. We all have fears. I know I do. One of the fears I'm trying to overcome is dogs. I'm afraid of dogs. Growing up, I had one bad experience after another with dogs chasing me and no one telling me that dogs have fun by chasing you. So I'd always run away with my scooter or my bike. So that fear was something that stuck with me, and it has taken me a while to overcome. I was afraid of dogs, and there wasn't any kind of convincing that can be done to change my mind. I was afraid. We all have fears. Some fears may seem strange to us. Some have a fear of baldness and bald people. Others have a fear of the color purple. Some even have a fear of objects on the right side of the body. Fears can come in all shapes, forms, and sizes. Being in a hospital bed is a fear on its own. Some ask, what will happen to me next? This question and many more are valid questions that drive our fear of the unknown. The greatest fear anyone can have is the mystery of the unknown. What we can't control, we are afraid of the most. I love playing basketball, and so when I think of fear, I'm reminded of a Michael Jordan quote where he said, I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. The greatest basketball player of all time, probably the greatest athlete of all time, was a constant failure. He was cut from his high school team twice and barely made it on the third time he tried out. We all have failed. And because of our failures, we become afraid of the unknown. Some have taken failure and used it as motivations. Others take fear and use it to inflict pain on others. In all conflicts between groups, nations, cultures, societies, there are three elements that play out. The first one is the certitude that our group is morally superior, possibly even chosen by God. All others should follow our example and be at our service. In order to bring peace to the world, we have to impose our set of beliefs upon others through manipulation, force, and fear if necessary. This is constantly being played out every day in the world. Just turn on your TV sets and you will see it. The second point, a refusal of incapacity to see or admit to any possible error or faults in our group. The undeniable nature of our goodness makes us think we are infallible. There can be no wrong in us. And third, a refusal to believe that any other group possesses truth or can contribute anything of value. At best, others may be regarded as ignorant, unenlightened, and possessing only half-truths. At worst, they are seen as destructive, dangerous, and possessed by evil spirits, and they need to be overpowered for the good of humanity. Society and cultures are then divided into the good and the bad. The good attributing to themselves the mission to save, to heal, and to bring peace to this wicked world, according to their own terms and under their controlling powers. So, the question becomes, how do we overcome this way of thinking? The readings today reflect on how to take fear and face it head on, and they speak of a common witness. The Jewish reading speaks about the beauty we find in companionship when it says that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life and to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. The Christian reading points to a unity found in love when it says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. But he who fears has not been made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. The Baha'i reading asks us to cleanse ourselves from selfishness when it says, the heart must be sanctified from every form of selfishness and lust, for the weapons of the Unitarians and the saints were and are the fear of God. And lastly, the Islamic reading teaches us no matter the situation, hope will always be present in our life when it says, know that action on account of hope is of higher order than action on account of fear, because the creatures who are nearest to God are those who love him most, and love dominates hope. These readings point to a common theme, which is the beauty and the goodness found in our common humanity, which gives us the strength and the ability to overcome our fears. It is in acknowledging our fears and shortcomings that we realize we have the power to change the world. I'm reminded of a very famous Marianne Williamson quote on fear when she says, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So as we overcome our fears, we allow others to overcome their own fears. Acknowledging our fears gives us a way to shine. The Buddhist reading sums it up when it says, live in joy and love even among those who hate. Live in joy and in health even amongst the afflicted. Live in joy and peace even amongst the troubled. A patient once told me that their greatest fear is not dying, but that their greatest fear is that they have not lived a life that can be reflected through the memories of their loved ones. So as I slowly start to overcome my fear of dogs, and I've started to enjoy smaller dogs, may you gain the strength and the courage to overcome your fears through all that is good and beautiful. Thank you. Now we will have a concluding reflection reading, and this comes to us, a reading from the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. Right now, today, we are still alive, and our bodies are working marvelously, and our eyes still see the beautiful sky, and our ears can still hear the voices of our loved ones. Be the change you want to see in the world. What we are is what we think. All that we are arises from our thoughts, and with our thoughts, we make our world. May we continue to express our peace through our actions. May all that is beautiful continue to enlighten us in all that we do. Thank you so much for joining us today for our service of Multifaith Readings and Reflection. We hope that you enjoyed that. We hope you have a great rest of your day. If you'd like to contact us, our contact information is located on the spiritual care icon on your iPad. You can also talk to your nurse and they can reach out to us. They know how to contact us. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you again next Tuesday at 11. Thank you, everyone.